Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoiled. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to help a nervous dog. So I wasn't planning on doing this video today, but something happened and I just thought it would be a good chance for me to tell you how I'm dealing with it, and then it may help you and your dog. So this is Humps here. Now if you know me, if you subscribe to my channel and you know us, you'll know that he is our rescue dog. We've had him for 4 months now and he's come from South Korea. And so in South Korea they eat dogs, and so but the worst thing is they believe that if they eat a dog that has been tortured, then the meat will be better for them. And so it's horrific, absolutely horrific. And they have these places there where they have these dogs that are hoarded, and they're just for breeding. And Humps lived there for 5 years, his whole life, which was 5 years. And he was a breeding dog in this hoarding situation. And he lived horrors that you couldn't even imagine. I won't talk to you about them, so don't worry. I'm not going to talk about them, but just so you, I just want to put you in the picture of the situation with him. And so, understandably, he gets nervous about lots of things, as he would. And considering where he has come from, he copes absolutely miraculously well. It's incredible how well he's adapted. So he's been in the UK now so we've had him for 4 months, and then he was in the UK April, May, June, July, for 5 months before that. And then before that, he was in Korea in a rescue shelter for 6 months while he did, they did all his checks and stuff and quarantined him and all of that. So he's actually been out of the actual milk. He's been out of the meat trade now for a year and a little bit. But the rescue centre in Korea was still pretty dire. But, anyway, so he's been with us now for 4 months. So some things do worry him. But we've had him and the time has gone on, he's got so much braver. But I just want to talk to you today about some of the things that have made him nervous and how I've dealt with it. So at night time, so I've got 2 other dogs and they sleep upstairs on our bed, and that's great, that's fine. Humps is very, very welcome to come upstairs and sleep with us. But he doesn't. He chooses to sleep downstairs on his own, and he actually gets off his bed and gets onto the sofa. Once we've all gone, he gets onto the sofa. And that's absolutely fine. I have no problem with that. My dogs are allowed on sofas, so it's not a problem. When we first got him, if anything worried him, he would come up to bed with us and he would really get in bed and cuddle in with us and be as close as possible. But generally day to day, he just chooses to sleep down here, and he can come up at any point. So that's kind of how I guide things at the moment. Like if he comes up to bed with us, I know he's a bit worried. If he stays downstairs, then he seems like bonfire night. And over that period of time, he came up every night with us because the fireworks were bothering him. By the way, if your dog's got a problem with fireworks, I've done a whole series of videos of things that I've done to help my dogs. I'll stick the playlist, at the end of the video, I'll stick the playlist up for that. So if your dog needs help with firework fear, you might find something there that can help you. So last night, I've got to stop saying so. I keep saying so. It's driving me crazy. Last night was really quite windy here, and when I woke up this morning, that was my first thought. Oh, the wind was sort of howling around. Well, it can't howl around the house because we're a terraced house, but it was howling around. Do you know what I mean? Like around the house. And my first thought was, I wonder how Humps did with that, because the thing we've always got to think about is when he was in this, it was like they were kept in the breeding dogs. They were kept in like a dark warehouse in a cage for his whole life. That's where we lived his whole life. But I've got to be aware of like what could he hear on the outside. So he might have heard wind howling around. Anyway, I wondered if he was bothered by it. Every morning what he does is he lies on the bottom step and just waits for us to come downstairs. He's always there. And I looked over the banister this morning and he wasn't there, and that's unusual. And my first thought was, is it the wind? Is something worried him about the wind? So I came downstairs and he was in the sitting room, which was unusual for him. He's normally always out. And once we start to come down the stairs, he dances around and he's all excited to see us. And he wasn't doing any of that. He was just sitting in the sitting room. And so I knew it was a massive chance that it was the wind. So what I did was, I'm a real firm believer in talking to dogs, because you can't talk to a dog and portray if you're talking to them about something nicely, you can't be giving off a weak energy. No matter what you're thinking in life or what you're feeling, you are giving off an energy. That's just the law of physics. That just is. It's not debatable. It just is a thing. So if you're angry, you're giving off an angry energy. If you're happy, you're giving off a happy energy, and so forth. And dogs, they can't understand, obviously, language, but they do read energy, and that's how they read you. So if you're telling them something and you're telling them in a reassuring, strong way, then you are giving off a reassuring, strong energy. And, you know, energy is so massive when it comes to dogs. And I'm not going to go on about it now because I've done a whole separate video about it. And if you just look through my, go to the playlist for dog behaviour, and there's a whole, in there, there's a video that I've done all about energy. And so what I did was I just got, so first thing's really important. Don't be showing him sympathy, saying, oh no, there's nothing to worry about. Don't be doing that. That didn't help at all. So what I do was, first thing is to just make sure my energy was as normal as possible. Make sure any other people in the house's energy is as normal as possible. So he's hearing sirens there. Now sirens don't normally bother him, but because he's a little bit anxious because of the wind, he's a little bit more jumpy. So, and the other important thing was for me to just carry on with my morning like normal. So, I'm so sorry. I got on with making my breakfast as normal. And then while I was doing it, I was talking to him and I was explaining to him that it's called wind and that it isn't going to hurt him, and it was just howling around the house and it's just a noise, and that it won't hurt him, and that it's no way it won't cause any harm, and that he's safe and he's safe in his house. And I was just talking to him, explaining like that about what was happening. It was wind, and I know it scared you, but you didn't need to be scared, and you might have heard it when you were in Korea, but you're safe now, and you're not being abused and tortured now. You're safe, and I know that sound reminds you of when you were back in Korea, but you're not there now. You're safe here, and we love you, and you're safe, and everything's okay. And he stares right at me the whole time I'm talking. What is important to remember is when you're talking to a dog, don't just like look at them straight. That's a very bad thing to do. That is quite dominant. So don't do that. Blink at them while you're talking to them. Blink. Keep blinking. Have soft eyes. Sort of slant your eyes a bit and keep blinking at them. It's really important. Don't just stare at them, because that's not good for a dog. That's threatening behaviour. So keep blinking at them the whole time. And he definitely was looking at me the whole time, and he was listening, and he definitely relaxed. He definitely relaxed. And then I thought, right, so then so I feed them and all of that happens. Then I went upstairs, quickly have a shower and everything, and then we go out for our, I can't say the word. I got 3 dogs looking at me, but WALK. And I thought, okay, he might not want to go out in the wind, because when I let them out to go outside to go to toilet, it was really windy out there. And he wasn't too happy about it. So I went out with him, and he went out and went to the toilet, and he was fine. But then I thought he might not want to go for a WALK. And I thought, okay, how am I going to deal with that then? And so I thought, okay, well, if he doesn't want to go, what I'm going to do is, say my husband walks our dogs with us, and I thought I'm going to send my husband out with the other 2 dogs. They could have a sniff around just outside the gate, just out in the street, just outside the gate. And what I'm going to do with Humps is I'm going to sit on the stairs. So our stairs are in the hallway right by the front door. I'm going to sit on the stairs, and I'm just going to talk to him. And if he doesn't want to go out, he doesn't have to, that's fine. But I'm just going to talk to him and explain again, it's just wind. It won't hurt you. Something else I did at the moment, because it's right at the end of the year now. And so we sometimes doing our walks in the dark. We sometimes start our walks in the dark at the moment. So what I did was, because it's Saturday, so it was fine. So I just held out until it was light, because I thought that would help him. But I was going to just sit on the bottom of the stairs, explain to him, it's just wind, it won't hurt you. I understand it's a sound that, again, might have reminded you of Korea. I know it's a sound you don't understand what it is, but I would never, ever, ever take you out into something that was dangerous. If I think it's okay to go out, you have to understand it's safe to go out. And I was going to talk to him like that. And while I was having my shower, I planned all of that. Now, as it happened, when I came downstairs, he really recovered quite well from what happened, from his fear of it. And he was quite happy to trot out on his WALK. No problems at all. On the wall, I can't say that word. I have to distract everyone. La 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 la. On the WALK. If you've got dogs, which I'm assuming you have, you know why I can't say that word. Yeah, so when we were out, he was more jumpy, a little bit more jumpy than usual. Yeah, he definitely, it scared him in the night, and it definitely was ongoing. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is when we're out, so when he came to us, we were told by the rescue centre, and completely understandably, I can absolutely see why we were told that when he walks, he stops. So he walks a little bit and then he stops and sits down, walks a little bit and then he stops and sits down. And the reason that that was thought was because when he came to us, his legs were in a horrendous condition. I mean, really awful back leg problems, which by now are completely sorted out. But anyway, horrendous back leg problems. And so I could completely see why the thoughts were that he was stopping to sit down because his legs were hurting him. And I'm not saying that they weren't, to a massive degree they could have been. But having now sorted out his legs and he's running and he's fine, it's not that. He sits down when he is worried about something. And one of the fears he has when we're out is traffic. He's scared of cars, he's scared of traffic. And so we walk him where it's either no traffic or there is some traffic, but it's just one car. He's okay if just one car goes past. What he's not okay with is if he can hear lots of cars going past. So we don't walk him anywhere where there's lots of cars on the road. But if he can hear them in the distance, he doesn't like it at all. He gets scared. And what he does when he's scared is he freezes. And so he sits down. And so he just sits. And he completely freezes. And so what I do is, if that happens, because he's worried about this, even if it's like in the distance, but it has to be like a busy road. But even if he can hear it far in the distance, he just sits down and he just shuts off. And so what I do is, don't force him, nothing like that. I just sit down with him and talk to him about it again. You know, you can hear the cars in the distance, they won't hurt you. Even if they were close, they wouldn't hurt you because we wouldn't go in the road because that isn't what you do. You stay on the path. But those cars are far, far away that you can hear. And I just talk to him about it and say, like, did you hear, when you were in Korea, were you near a busy road? And does that sound remind you of it? Because it must do, otherwise he wouldn't have a fear of it. And I just talk through him with it and just explain, like, you know, you're safe. I'm not going to take you there. And if we did go anywhere where there were busy cars, it wouldn't hurt you. And it's very difficult because we live literally to one side of us is a big busy town. To the other side of us is the absolute middle of nowhere. And so we are able to do walks where there are no traffic, and that's great. But at the same time, I don't ever want, you know, he gradually, slowly, bit by bit, he does need to get over this fear of traffic he's got. But the fact that even if you can hear it in the distance bothers him. So even if you're walking in the countryside, you can hear cars, you know, on busy roads that are far, far away. And so it is something that comes up probably every walk, I would say. And so I just stop with him, never ever pull him. I never pull him. I never force him to do it. I just stop with him, just chat to him about it. And then in his own time, when he can compose himself, we start off again. And so one of the things is it's very important not to do a walk where you're ever in a rush, because if that happens, I have to just let him sit and take his time. And he gets over it and it doesn't take that long. And then we just carry on going on our walk. I'm just having a look at my notes. I think that's it. That's pretty much what I do. So, oh, bless his heart. We had a long walk this morning because it's New Year's Eve today. As I'm recording this, it's New Year's Eve. And obviously we've got fireworks tonight. Not us, but, you know, people around us will have fireworks, and that's a whole different situation dealing with that. He actually hasn't done too badly with fireworks. All things considered, he hasn't done too badly at all. But obviously that he could do better. And so, like I said, there's a whole playlist. I'm doing a whole load of stuff. So a whole load of stuff happens today to prepare him for fireworks tonight. And that starts with a really good walk. So we were able to do a good long walk this morning. You can see there he's nice and tired after playing with his toys. So hopefully we'll be all right with the fireworks tonight. So that's it really. So I just thought I would talk to you about it and about what I do, because today was, you know, something particular had happened that he was scared of. And I can see how some of you would think, well, maybe even a lot of you would think, talking to your dog is not going to make any difference. It really, really does. It really does, because dogs are all, and I know this sounds all woohoo and a lot of people won't believe it, but Dogs read energy. There's no, I 100%, I have, as much as I can tell you, we have to breathe in oxygen. I can tell you dogs read energy, 100% without question. And they get it smack on. They know it exactly right. So what you're feeling, your dog feels without question. And so if you can talk to your dog in a reassuring manner. Now, what is really important on this note is that if your dog is behaving scared of something, so like fireworks is a classic example of this, don't reassure. Like, supposing I was up in the night when Humps, supposing the wind had happened during the day, the strong wind had happened during the day, and Humps was looking really agitated and worried and scared about it, I wouldn't comfort him. Well, I would, but let me just bear with me a minute. I wouldn't comfort with him as in cuddle him or stroke him and say, it's okay, it's all right, it's okay, and be stroking him. Because what you're doing is you're just reassuring him, telling him then, yeah, there's something to be worried about. Yeah, you do, you'll need to be worried about this, but it's going to be okay. We're going to get through it. You don't want to be like that with him, because that's exactly what he'll get. Like, oh, this is something for us to worry about. You need to be really matter of fact, get on with your day, get on with what you're doing, but talking to him the whole time. So it's all right, nothing to worry about. It's okay. It's just some wind. It's not going to hurt you. So you're talking to him and you're giving him the attention that he needs, but you're absolutely giving him the reassurance that he needs. But you're just getting on with it. You're not making a big deal of it. He's going to trot off to his bed now. You're not making a great big deal of it. Let's go off to his bed with him. You're not making a great big deal of it. You're just getting about your business, but paying him attention. Definitely be paying him attention. He definitely needs to be having that attention because he's scared. He definitely needs to be having his attention. And I always refer to this, like, you imagine when you were little, if something like, say, a thunderstorm was happening and your mum was, and you were really scared, and your mum was cuddling you and saying, it's okay, it's all right, it's something to worry about, don't worry, it's going to be all right, it's going to be all right. That's just going to make you really scared. If your mum got on with cooking dinner and getting on with whatever, there's another word I can't say, getting on with her business and just getting on, but saying to you, no, it's okay, it's something to worry about, it's just the thunder outside, it's just nature, it just happens, it's going to be all right, you don't need to worry about it, it's okay. So make sure that you're giving them the reassurance and you're definitely giving them attention, stay with them, but don't give them a weak energy, give them a nice reassuring strong energy. And that goes for any fear that they have. It's really important that you don't pander to it and don't give any weakness, and you pandering to it is going to come across as weakness. So that's it. So as always, you know where I am, Instagram, Twitter. If you have got anything that you'd like to say on this subject, can you put it into comments? Because you might be doing something that I'm not doing and it would help my dogs, or it would help lots of other dogs that are watching this video. And it's really important that we help dogs and that we share tips and tricks and stuff, and that we help as many dogs as we can. It's really important that we do that. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a really lovely day. And if you have got fireworks to contend with, or whatever fear you've got to contend with, I really hope that your dog gets over that fear quickly. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.